Hey all, Steve from GuitarNiche here. So we have a lovely Yamaha SBG-3000 from the early 80s, around 1983 I believe. And it's been wonkified with this lovely, genuine actually, Floyd Rose system, which was wicked invasive. I mean, that's a lot of wood that came out of there. Holy crap. Anyway, let's just say it's not worth what it used to be, but we're dealing with it as we can. So the focus here right now is to intonate it. So I've got it kind of in the ballpark. The nut's been set. The bridge is in the ballpark again, and I set the saddles more or less by eye, according to what was there previously, because I took it all apart, I cleaned it up, and then I reassembled it. And we're going to see what we can see and fine tune it as need be. The strings are relatively well stretched. By the way, this is a really cool guitar. I mean, geez, man. It's got gobs of like hands-on finesse, like in the build quality, and it's just a real pleasure. Anyway, I digress. So on to the process. The idea of this video, the topic of this video, is to show you how to deal with intonating a Floyd Rose style bridge simply and without the aid of any extraneous tools or extra stuff that you don't need it. Drives me crazy. There's people are more than happy to sell you something. Anyway, not that they're it's all good. It's all good. Anyway, on with the show. I'm going to go for the A string. I'm going to use my regular process, which is using a series of harmonics. Why do I use harmonics? Well, I use fretted notes and I use harmonics so that I don't have to rely on imperfections at the nut. It disregards, it gets around the majority of the imperfections at the nut. And I don't know if this, well, I measured it, but the nut seems to be okay, but anyway. I'm going to use fretted notes to make sure. So I'm on the A string at the 5th fret. That's going to be a D, harmonic there, and that's just slightly sharp. And this D here should register. Well, it doesn't, but it should register exactly the same, and it doesn't. So this is slightly sharp, meaning our scale length is too short. So I'm going to dump that string a little bit. One thing about locking systems is that they are hard on the strings. Yeah, they're hard on the strings. I think this is a 2.5 millimeter adjustment here. Okay, so I backed it off. I just pushed back the saddle a little bit. I'm gonna get that in the ballpark again. Look at that. Okay, pretty easy peasy. Some people say it's a pain in the ass. Yes, it is. It's totally a pain in the ass. Because it's not like you can just turn a screw and the saddle moves back and forth. You gotta undo shit and redo shit. And I'm using normal finger pressure. I'm going to double check that with the B on the A string, which is 2nd fret, harmonic, 14th fret, and natural note, 14th fret, natural finger pressure. Bob's your uncle. I think that is just peachy. Now from here, what I'm going to do is eyeball the low E, give that a little bit more. By the way, I'm using a wooden dowel here so I don't scratch anything. Should use the right end. Anyway, I'm going to push that back to about there. I would say that's slightly less than 2 millimeter ish, over a 1/16 of an inch. And before I check that, I'm going to look at the D string. Oh, the D string is going to be wicked sharp. I'll tell you that right now. Just by looking at it, because the step pattern is not in line. I hope you can see this. Now that I've registered my A, I want the D string to be roughly about a 1/16 of an inch, 1.5 millimeters ahead of the A string. And that ain't working. So we'll see what we can see with this. I've taken the tension off. And I'm going to see what kind of play I have here with that. Yeah, their footing looks like it's okay. You know, if you get beyond the travel, reasonable travel of the locking screw, you got to reposition it. Some bridge plates have 3 threaded holes. Some have 2. Depends on the quality. Depends on the finesse. Depends on the manufacturer. I'm going to give that actually a little bit more, because this is a set of 10s, and the D string is going to be just ever so slightly longer in scale length than it would be for a set of 9s. How do I know that? Oh, I don't know, maybe a few years of doing intonation for thousands of instruments. Anyway, I'm going to carry on here. You're going to hear some sizzles and stuff like that because I still have to micro tweak some stuff. But I can guarantee this: the instrument is in it's about 95% of the way there. So any extra noises and stuff you hear is simply incidental and not going to affect the ultimate outcome. Okay, here's my A on the E string at the 5th fret. And here is the natural A using natural finger pressure. That's a little sharp. Okay, so we're going to add a little length to that. Sometimes Floyd Rose stuff can give you extra long travel compared to slanted Nashville type and Gibson type things. Too much? Too little? There's the A. As long as I get the registration in the same spot each time, I'll be a happy camper. That's a beautiful thing. And I'm trying to emulate natural finger pressure. Bang on. Good stuff. I could cross-check that with the G at the 3rd fret and the 15th fret, but you know it's going to be good. So we're a G, okay, on the D string, 5th fret, sharp. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah, pretty good, just as I anticipated. Now I'm going to go for the E. Once again, I'm using harmonics. I'm fretting the string, this particular D string, at the 2nd fret because that's going to be an E note, and then I'm hitting the harmonic at the 14th fret. That's also an E note, and I'm hitting the actual natural E on the same string. I have to keep very close watch on how I'm fingering the note, because I want to do it naturally, constantly re-registering that I'm doing it naturally. Those notes are really good. They're close enough for me to be happy with. And by using the harmonics and these octave notes and harmonic versus natural, same pitches, I get around some of the inconsistencies associated with, you know, the string at the nut and stuff like that. Okay, it's just a process that I developed over many years, which has served me very well. Now I'm going to look at, oh boy, okay, The G string is going to be, I'll tell you right now, that's a shit show. That's a shit show. Pardon my French. G string is way too forward. So what we're learning here is that we take, I'm going to try to pop that into the next threaded slot, if you would. What we're trying to take advantage here here is some experience. Come on, you can do it. Of what patterns should look like and anticipate them. A little more slack. And anticipate what a final pattern should look like so that we don't have to keep, you know, messing around with the strings and stuff like that. That's good. That's going to be in the ballpark for sure. As always, give it a little stretch. And there's our B. We want to get on the B. B's a little fussy. G strings are a little fussy. Always snap in the string to reseat it. Ooh, that's flat. No, maybe not. See, you notice that, I gotta mention this. The needle was automatically flat in both last positions. That's because, watch this. That's heat. I've done this. Hear that? You gotta account for that. You have to keep check. The heat from your hand will affect your intonation. You have to account for that. Anyway, I digress. I get overly excited with this intonation stuff. I would say the G string's a tad flat. That's supposed to be an A. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely flat. So we're gonna let that ride up a little bit, which is fine. And what I'm doing is I'm just looking at the edges of the saddles and registering what I see when compared to the next. I'm on the A. Let's see what this A looks like. Oh, it's splitting the zero. It's close. Did it stretch? Not too bad. Maybe just a hair flat still. No, this is the fun part about intonation and yeah, it's definitely flat. I can hear it. Okay, so we will let that creep up a little bit more. Hopefully we still have enough travel in that. Oh, yeah. And that was like super fine fraction. So on the edge of the zero, natural finger pressure, edge of the zero, good to go. Edge of the zero, edge of the zero. Bob's your uncle. I think that's a done deal. Now that I have the G registered properly, it's a piece of cake to get the rest of the strings, the last two remaining, within tolerance. And I'm gonna do this real super quick. Well, let's get, the thing about having to move the saddles back on a locking system is if you move them back, you're increasing the tension on the strings, which makes it a bit of a pain in the ass. So there you go. Okay. And I'll lock that down, bring that up a little bit, just because I'm going to anticipate that I might have nailed something So why not? Oops. Oh, that's got to go back quite a bit. Ooh, darn it. I'll have to go to plan B. Oh, pardon me. No, that didn't go far. Okay. All right, so. And I want to see that E string just, boy, that's on the edge. I don't know if I can get that. No. Sometimes you can look down into the slot here on the saddle, and if you see the reveal of the next hole completely uninterfered, then you can move the locking screw back. But in this case, I don't think we're going to be that lucky. No. I'm just not a fan of having the locking bolt or screw at the very leading edge. I think it's just, it's like, you know, like we're using our fingernails to hang on, right? Anywho. So we're going to go straight for the throat here. We're going to go for the E string. Sorry, okay. And we're going to go for the G on the E string, which is the 3rd fret. That's way sharp. Okay, let's make sure we're in the ballpark. Okay, good. So we're on the edge of the 0, on the edge of the 0, on the edge of the 0. E strings can be really fussy because you gotta really watch your finger pressure to maintain consistency. And sometimes, now, see here we are, I'm using an A. E strings can be really fussy because they don't always, some instruments will let the tones bloom into a good meter, which of course this is. Even though it's analog, it does a great job. It senses harmonics. It's super sensitive. Way better than the other tools that I've used over the years. But see, it's having a hard time registering that A way up there. That's a resonant peak interference. That's exactly what that is. Anyways, go back to the G. I refuse to use, that's slightly flat, isn't it? I refuse to use the open E, or the open string. Refuse, absolutely refuse. I have learned my lesson far too many times that it just does not work. Oh, jeez. Okay, let's get that back to about there. Notice these are my fancy tools. Like a, what, $15 archaic tuner, $6, $7, $10, maybe, you know, hex driver, and a penny piece of dowel. Living large. Anyway, we're on the G again. Oh, it's way sharp. Okay, we're on the downward edge of that 0. Oh, we're looking good now. Natural finger pressure. See, the string's heating up. When it goes flat like that, it's because the string's heating up. Of course, I got my volumes up all the way. I'm using the treble pickup. This one's a little fussy. I'm gonna, well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna live with that. I think that's just dandy. Okay, let's It's close enough for me. That's within like a few like very, very small percentage or points. And we'll check the D on the B string, which is at the 3rd fret. Hopefully we're in the ballpark for this. No, we're flat. No, we should be okay. Slightly flat. Oh, we got to account for string heat. It's funny how much that plays an important, very important part in accurate intonation. Yeah, that's the heat. The heat from my fingers. It's crazy. Anyway, now we're on the other side of the 0. And we're on the other side of the 0. And we're on the other side of the 0. And we're looking good. So the string heated up. It's not locked. There's no locking pads on the locking nut. So it is floating a little bit, and that can have some issues with the stability. Now here's the E. It's the 5th fret on the 2nd string, just above the 0, and we're good. I'm happy with that. Ugh. That E, see, that E's got a little sizzle there. That means it's not resting on the, it's either not resting properly here or at the nut. And this is exactly why, at least I'm eliminating the nut as a source for misinterpretation. Anyway, I digress. That whole process took a few minutes. It doesn't have to, eat up half your day and have you throwing tools around your workspace and cursing anything and wishing that you never had a locking system to begin with. It's really not that bad. You just got to have a good process, learn how and know how to anticipate what you should have. If you don't have this stepping pattern in the saddles, you have either a problem with the nut, or you're not doing it properly. Sorry about that. Or you have buggered strings. Plain strings are going to be plain strings. There's no way around that. Wound strings, you can have inconsistencies with the winding. They come in batches. I've seen it many, many, many times. Anyway, look for the step pattern and use that to your advantage. All you have to do is register one string, and I'll summarize it like this. I registered the A, and then I was able to get the D and the E in the ballpark, tweak a little bit, bang on. And then I registered the G, because the G is the funky one. The G is a funky one. And I was able to register the other ones and get them in the ballpark, okay? And account for finger heat. I can't express this enough. You gotta account for finger heat. You're playing your guitar, hacking away. Okay? That heat, when you're playing, affects your intonation. It affects string length and elasticity, all wonderful things. As you intonate, be quick, account for finger heat, and keep registering, keep adjusting, and eventually you'll get it bang on. Anyway, I've said enough, and thank you very much for sticking around for this long. Please read the description notes. There's lots of great resources there, lots of great stuff. More coming, and I really enjoy doing this. Hope you're enjoying the long-winded explanations of certain things. But anyway, we'll carry on. Have a great day. And in the end, intonating a locking system is not rocket science. You just need a good process. Have a great day, play loud, carry on, have fun. Thanks for coming out.